Simple. Just vote him out. We don't have enough time.
I just want you guys to watch it, so let's watch.
Yeah, but let me point out something so important. We have the power. And that is in our vote, and that is with our voice, and that's how we use our voice. I think of where we are right now, people say this is a particular movement, but it is a movement, not just a movement, it is a movement. Why, in your opinion, was it George Floyd's death? Why was that chosen brutality for people to say, oh my God, white people are so oppressed in this country? And it is not fair.
I think it's twofold.
Yeah, it's not fair. You should treat them nicely.
Between people of color and the police, there simply is no proof what happened in the interaction. And so what happens in a court of law, it tends to lean towards the policeman's point of view, right? In this case, we saw very clearly what happened. I think the other thing is due to the fact that everyone was at home, basically, during this time period in relation to the virus, you couldn't avoid it. Right? It was on every television station, it was on every social media platform. Everywhere you turn, you were constantly hit upside the head with this message. You see in the interaction that this man did nothing to deserve what happened.
That's right. That's so well said, because if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't worth it. It didn't have to lose his life. I think that we brought on, touched on something that a lot of people talk about, and that is now funding the police. That has been such a huge conversation. There's so many misconceptions around defunding and dismantling. If you will, educate the audience.
All right, so most people, when they hear the term defund the police, they tend to think of, oh, they're going to take away our police department. Nothing could be further from the point. Defunding the police means that in certain communities, even you take, for example, we had over $1 billion allocated to our police force. Now, what is that money being used for? Some of that money tends to be allocated towards riot shield, right? Pepper spray, right? That kind of thing. That's only used against the people that fund this budget, right? So why would the people want to supply the police with the means to oppress them?
Why do people keep flying over the screen?
In certain communities with a higher crime rate. Well, higher crime rates tend to happen in communities where there's not employment opportunities, right? There's not a lot of social services. People are going to do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. When the community has more opportunities for employment, more opportunities for mobility, then they tend to be a less of a strain on the government. They tend to have a lower crime rate, and because of that, we'll have less need for the police in those communities.
You are passionate about so many different things in terms of making sure that we are holding our leaders accountable. Talk to me about some of the other projects that you're working on.
Well, right now, obviously, being a part of the medical essential, we're dealing with primaries in the country. We want to educate people, we want to inform people, because people are tired, they're angry, they're concerned, and they want information and they want action. So we want to make sure that we give them the right information and lead them in the right direction. We thank the people that do not look like us standing with us right now. It's very important that people who aren't black be involved, because black people would have got better races. We would have done it 100 years ago. And so I'm trying to use my voice, my platform, just to let people know that if they feel like I do, there's a number of places they can go to enact change in their community. People need to know about how the city council runs. They need to know that they have the ability to speak when city council meets, to let them know that that's not the way they feel their city needs to be run. Those are not the places that they feel the money that they're going to be allocated.
But step further, they can run for office in their local community. They can run for positions. Like people act like they leave it for somebody else. If you're upset, it's not hard to get on the school board. It's not hard to be a part of the city council. It really isn't. And depending on how small your town is, you can be a mayor. The power is with the people, and we need to just know that that's happening.
1 minute, everyone. You can still watch this.
Sabrina Fulton, right? She felt that there was a system of racism, a system of oppression that led to her son's death. And so what did she do? She ran for city council, and she was elected to city council. Our own former president, 44, Barack Obama, right? Started in the community as an activist, ran for an elected position, became senator, ran for another elected position, became president of the United States. So don't think that you can't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of power. Your voice is enough to make a difference.
Man, I feel like I need to go out for some. You gave me a rousing speech there, sir. I gave a message with an activist. When I talk to my brothers, I have to ask you, as a black man, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a very strong relationship with God, so prayer definitely works for me. I have children and grandchildren who watch watching me who are encouraged by what I do, and they're proud of me right now.
Wait, so a granddad's a rapper? Wait, we have to go with you.
That believes in what you're doing and supports you in what you're doing. You have everything you need to go out there and fight the good fight. And for those that don't, there's a community of people here to help you. So you go to places like morethanavote.org. There are many different places that will encourage you, inform you, and then they will put you with some people that feel like you that are ready to take action. So no one has to go about this alone if they want to do it.
We're stronger together. People have been saying it, and that has much meaning now that we're in a movement, not just this movement. I mean, it's been an education always much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you fighting.
Keep up the good fight.
Sorry, next guest, I have to admit I'm a fan. But there are so many different people we talk to. So clear that we speak with her. You know her as Molly, a huge, successful show, Insecure, HBO's Insecure. She also has a comedy special highlighting her Nigerian roots, and she's an amazing podcaster, as well as many You have such a beautiful way.
Oh, hello.
ABS are medicine, right? The humor and the healing. You bring all of that to your space. Right now, you look across this country and everyone is so broken, so upset. This social justice pandemic, expression, employment, the list goes on and on. How are you doing, quite frankly?
You know, I'm rediscovering self in a way that is hard, but necessary. That will lead to ultimate joy. I know it sounds like a lot, but no, I think I personally think that God put all of us on a global timeout. Like we just, America hasn't done as good as other people when it comes to timeouts, because everyone else is out playing at recess, and we look at children principles hoping and wishing he can come out. But I think that if we settle into the timeout and really learn the lesson that we're supposed to learn from this season, I think we'll emerge better. We'll learn how to play well with others in more ways than one. And so personally, me, I'm taking this time to learn me in a new way. I feel like I'm being ushered into a new season, and I'm getting still. Because sometimes the busy confounds the work that we're supposed to actually be doing. We're busy doing other stuff. We got work that we need to do inside, and I'm leaning into it. I'm like, dang, I thought I was gonna be able to rest like everybody else. And we got like now we got work.
You know what? And I think that's what everybody is saying about 2020. It's demanding that we be better. And you said it's a global timeout. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's like everyone sit down, be humble, to quote the great prophet Kendrick Lamar. But like no, seriously, sit down and let's reevaluate things. Let us unearth and take up the things that we have been trying to hide within ourselves and our nation. I think America is going through an unraveling right now, a much needed, a much necessary one, and I think all eyes on us, right? There is no, I was on the subway for an hour if I didn't miss that thing that happened. No. Everybody was home. Everybody, was watching when George Floyd died, and everybody, no one could hide. Everyone was watching when Amy Cooper called the cops. Like this is a time where it's like, oh, we can't pretend it away. We can't excuse it away. No. It's a global timeout. Sit down, watch, and let's learn. And globally, it's like, hey, we were going business as usual, but it ain't usual no more. Like that's old. Anytime change occurs, it's very uncomfortable. And so right now we're sitting with the we're getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Because that to me explains just the existence, whatever we would do, how we break into our careers, how we live our lives, how we find ourselves one of the few or one first. And that's a long road. We look over time. Everybody how does that help you as a country?
I think we're not minorities. Carrie, you already know it. It's like these labels that they put on us, like the same way of saying like black violence. Also, there's no white on white violence. It's branding.
Yeah,
right. It's all branding.
You're right.
It's like white people kill white people every single day. So no, there is no black on black violence. And if you say black on black violence, then let's brand white on white violence. Like I watched Investigation Discovery. So I just even like to answer your question, what does that do? I think what everyone expected is what had happened in the past when the world was open, right? In that, okay, you had everyone from Trayvon Martin to Cecilia to Sandra Bland, you had all of these lives lost, and black people made some noise. You know, we rioted, we got out on the street. Started Black Lives Matter movement, all of those things, and then after, and then white people kind of like, oh, let's give them something, and then it's like, is it over? It's like, Oscar so black. We got to give Oscars. Are we good now? Like, are we even? You know, and then now it's like, oh no. This is not about like a band-aid. It's like, yo, we might have to amputate the leg a little bit, but it's all right. By amputating the leg, we're gonna save the body. And so I think that's what's happening now. Like, America realized, like, oh, black people are making a little bit of noise. Like, the protests are still out. The conversations are still being had. The change is still being demanded. And I think they're seeing, oh, this is not going away. And no, it's not. Because we need systematic change.
What a beautiful way to explore what is happening and describe our country. We might have to amputate the leg to save our body. That's what's happening right now. That's beautiful. And to that end, I have to ask you this, because the way that we do that, we use our voice. And our voice right now in this world, in this country, is our vote. And everyone talks about voting and how important it is, but I feel like whenever we understand that it's not just about voting every 4 years to be in office, it's about your local elections, it's about the mayor, it's about the district attorney, the people who have power to bring charges against police and police brutality is an issue in your community. You care about your school district, you can run for school board. I asked this of you, right? Your parents are from Nigeria. You are Nigerian. Talk about that very lovingly. What does voting mean for you?
You know, I think voting is power. I remember, I became a naturalized citizen back in the 90s when I was a minor. My mom naturalized, so we were able to do it under her. And just that power, like you're and all that access that we have by being the citizen. One of those accesses of those powers. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because not only do we have the opportunity to be in the country, now we can be of the country, we can be of the system, we can be of the rules, we can be of what it actually affords. But I think going back to your earlier comment about just the setup of systems, I think we are done a disservice either in schools or whatever it is, and I'm not putting teachers on blast. I think teachers do a phenomenal job, but for some reason, we do not, and give them all the praise. I know too many parents who are like, I'm like, this child of mine, I love them, but where can I drop them off? I think that there is a because again, when we talk about your point, we talk about every 4 years. It's important to vote for the president. We don't realize, like, oh, snap. We actually can vote about like how much our library gets. It's like small things like that, but they make a big difference.
When you think of voter suppression in this country, what does it look like?
It's the system. When we talk about voter suppression, we also talk about racism, right? It's all the systems that's set up, and we normalize. Okay, maybe your job will give you a half day, or maybe you'll be able to get this luxury. It shouldn't be a luxury. It should be built into the system. It should be built into the fabric of how we vote. But maybe you'll be able to get this luxury in order to enable you to go. Think about everything disenfranchised, marginalized black person has to endure a day. So in a day, you need to get to work. If something happens to your car, if something happens to your child care, if something happens to there's so many factors along the way that can send you into a tailspin as an American. And then you add on as a person of color. If you're just trying to get to vote and you already have to go through all of these hurdles and hoops in your everyday life, imagine the one day when your voice really is supposed to matter the most in the country, but then you also see all the times that you try to have your voice matter, and then it's been shut down, repressed, told it doesn't matter, and then you're kind of like, what's the point?
How do we keep hope though? If I'm watching this right now, how do we as a people stay hopeful? How do we believe in the promise that these quote unquote forefathers have given us?
Because have you met black people? Like hope is infused in our DNA. Like you're like if we haven't been broken now, be it through slavery, through colonization, through segregation, through I mean the history of black people in this country is at one point we were 350 people. That was a written law. And look at us now. We are home. We are black girl magic. We are black boy joy. We are, you know what I'm saying? What I think about in terms of giving us hope, right? We're making a lot of people nervous right now, Carrie. We're making a lot of people nervous right now. They're like, dang, we put all these obstacles in their way, and these jokers are resilient. But that should give us hope. That should give us hope that, like, we can't stop. I mean, I went to the city, you know, that hashtag, how we shaking it right now. And I think that's our motto. We can't stop voting and we won't stop voting. We can't stop marching and we will stop marching. We can't stop thriving and we will stop thriving.
To that end, because you led me directly there, I've been asking everyone who's experienced this platform, what does activism look like? And I feel like back in the day, we had an idea. Yes, it is marching. Yes, it is protesting. Yes, it is speaking out against things that we feel are not right or unjust. But talk to me about what activism looks like.
Activism, I think the beauty of activism is that it has many faces, right? You're going to have good people on the front. Like you know what? Martin Luther King marched, but there were a lot of women who were in the home, like, hey, UT Dubs, when they come back, this is how we support all the people who are marching on the front. We're going to be here. We know that that's here. And you know what? Somebody bailed them out of jail, so that we need now we need to be in the community, getting money or whatever it is. So like everybody has a position to play, and so play your position short time, bro. So whoever you are and whatever you do, play your position. So activism could look like, you know what? I'm not the one that'll be on my front line, but you know what? My pockets go deep, so I'm gonna support the people on my front line. You know, I'm a comedian. Black joy is a form of activism.
There's always a call for entertainers or celebrities. Why am I saying I'm not a believer in thinking that it's mandatory. Like you said, everyone can access and activated in different ways. Talk to me about that action. Talk to me about the organization. Like to say more
we need to serve what we do. Like Nat says, it's the who is either blind racism in terms of overt racism, in terms of ways that we can be better, in terms of ways that we can actually more uplifting to the community that we don't even, you may not even realize that you're serving.
Before I let go, talk to me about the urgency, in your opinion, for people to vote, our people to get out and vote. This is the election.
Yeah, I mean, guys. Nice. If you think you're tired now, I'll tell you right now, we cannot take this down. We can't take this joke. I understand that it may be hard to figure out who to vote for. But at the end of the day, we gotta vote for our families. We gotta vote for our legacy. We gotta vote for continued progress. We have to vote for upward mobility. We have to vote for equality in a way that is long lasting. And if we succeeded before, we can do it again. Talk about the hope. This is the time. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to pretend in a way that we haven't made progress. There's still much more to be done. And you know what? We might have to get to it. We have had time for our children and children. But we still have work to do now.
You are everything. You are Molly, but you are not Molly. But I love you so much as Molly on HBO Sense. You are an amazing podcaster. the world culture also, wait, don't let me forget your hugely successful stand-up comedy special on HBO. I mean, you do it all, and I am so grateful. You're truly the dream, not just the American dream. You're a black girl, brown girl, all dream, the immigrant, everything. You're a beautiful, beautiful. I really mean that. Yvonne Ward, ladies and gentlemen, nothing but the best and excellence for society. So Atlanta has been one of the hotbeds in terms of political unrest, social justice, also so much homeland that's the city, including one of our very own founding fathers of the civil rights movement, that's Martin Luther King Jr. Right now, we will invent someone who is useless platform to talk about what we need to talk about racial justice and how he's trying to help Atlanta's very own Russ joins us now. Russ, I'm not going to fan out and tell you what some of my favorite songs were that I listened to read, or we're going to get to the topic at hand. So we got to talk about recently you did an interview where you shared your album with your music, and you also superior to the fact that you have a privilege and that is necessary for you to give back. Tell everybody about that.
It's it's very obvious I'm white and I'm in black culture, benefiting financially off it. So I feel like if you're a white person financially benefiting off of black culture, you have to put finances back in black culture. It's that simple. The screenshots with your feelings, it just comes off like fake empathy. Because it comes off very dismissive and very, oh, that sucks for y'all. But anyway, back to what I was doing.
Have you felt that way always? Is it now, because of the time where we are in this country?
I've always had the feeling. I think now it's just obviously elevated. It's a new level, and there's new, it's to the point now where you can't. First of all, you can't not say anything. Second of all, though, I just think saying something isn't enough anymore. I think if you have the ability to put money back into a culture that you're financially benefiting from, have the ability to, you should.
It's interesting that you talk about it in that way, because some people do believe that silence is the best way to go, because it's hard to talk, especially if you're white and you're in black culture. People just feel as if they can't talk about it. They feel as they don't. How do you find yourself right now in terms of interacting with people when they talk to you about social injustice, police brutality, what's going on in this country right now?
Well, first of all, picking and choosing whether you want to be silent or not about race, that's a privilege in itself. But no, I mean, I try to just do my best to listen to the black people around me and the educated black people I have in my life. So I do my best to not act like I have all the answers for everything, especially in a culture that I'm not from. But that's why when we decided to raise the money, Black Lives Matter organization.
If you were wondering why I was being so quiet, it's just this is important, I think, so I'm just letting watch.
I was on the phone with Karen, talking about my plans, make sure money went to like the correct places, people who really need it. It's just about listening, that's all. It's about listening.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because
Karen Civil is the founder of the Live Civil Foundation helping gunpoint. Karen, it just alerts me.
So for me, it was 3 years ago. I had like a string of festivals, and I decided that I was going to wear T-shirts with a message on them, because I figured, what better time to use a platform than in front of a bunch of people. So one of the T-shirts I wore was "We want to change the system, speak up, white silence, pro-racism, the whole thing." And it didn't really like it kind of got swept under the rug back then. But all this stuff started happening again, and it's happening, police brutality against innocent black people. I was like, I'm not the biggest artist in the world, and I certainly don't have the most white fans in the world, but I got a good amount of people that I can definitely mobilize and turn into something unique, and I know they're down for the cause, the merchants a big thing. And I've always been outspoken anyway, you know? And so how am I going to be in black culture not be outspoken about racism?
And then I gotta ask you this, because you were up in Atlanta, so that gives you a heads up to maybe for so many people, because you're in the crux of that beautiful black city where there's so many black people, almost so much racism, and it's speaking to our culture right now. And you are really getting our word out, especially this today, and saying that we must use our voice to vote. Talk to me about what is voting for you in this election.
Yeah, so I you know, full transparency, I have never voted. Ever. And
What
you know,
does
I
that
was one
mean?
of those people who was like, my vote doesn't matter, and you know, and I don't know, maybe it's because I was younger, maybe it's because I really thought that, I don't know, but I just think that it's got to, you know, this is a bit of a privilege to say it's got to a breaking point for me, because obviously it's been past the breaking point for black people. I think that as a whole, young people need to get out and vote, because we're the ones that never show up. You know what I mean? We never show up to vote, but you know, we're the future. So it's like, look, you gotta go out there and vote, and then whatever happens. At least we did our part. We gotta do it.
Your candidates that you decided to vote, and I think there's a beautiful irony in the fact that you have your fans saying, because of you voting, and there's something beautiful about that. I want to know why now for you. Why in this moment is and what hit your spirit to say, yes, this is the time.
Honestly, because I think that George Floyd really woke up a lot of people, including myself. I was vocal and outspoken about racism. I put it in my lyrics, I put it in T-shirts, I talk about it in interviews. Like, you know, I was vocal about it. But that video and that moment, I think me along with a lot of other people just kind of was like, alright, words are simply not enough anymore. We gotta do something. Whether it's raising money, whether it's voting, or all the above. It's we gotta do something, you know. And I'm ashamed that it took that for me to be like, I need to raise money and I need to vote. You know, it's a shame. And it just I guess it snapped a bunch of people out of you, you know. And even if you were vocal and whatnot, it's time to actually put your money where your mouth is. It's time to go. You know, it's time to just stop talking about it. And it's been time for that, but like I said, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to actually really be about it. But I'm here now.
So Russ, we all know that this is going to be your first time voting. Tell me what that experience has been like for you in terms of what you're excited about.
I think you know what it's going to do for me. It's going to let me know that I'm contributing to something bigger than myself. Actually putting my money in my mouth and being about it. Because, you know, so long, and I know I'm not alone with this, but, you know, standing on the outside and just screaming about this and that and this should change. It's like, I didn't vote. You know? And so I'm, you know, I know it's going to feel good to know that I played a small role. And that's the problem. I think the mentality of like, my vote doesn't matter, needs to change. My vote, albeit small, does matter. It's a role I'm playing. I play my part, you play your part, and he and she plays their part. Then we make a difference. But you know, it'll feel. I have a feeling it's gonna feel very, very bigger than me. And I think when you realize that giving actually feels better than receiving, that's when you start wanting to do your part and contribute. So voting is an easy way to give. You know.
Yeah. To whom much is given, much is required, and you have been given each platform. We are so grateful for you, Russ. Philanthropist, artist, community activist, first time voter. We appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, la.
So cities like Atlanta and Chicago have been at the forefront of discussions, especially now in this country. We're talking about COVID-19 and systemic racism as well as police brutality and what we can do in this country. Again, we're continuing our conversation, letting you know that your voice is your vote, your vote is your voice. We can change where we are in this country currently. I like to welcome in Chicago Cubs right now, Jason Hager. I appreciate you. I brought in Atlanta and Chicago because I know you were building the metropolitan area of Atlanta, more specifically McDonough, let's be technical. And you have been very vocal throughout this entire time in terms of what our country's been experiencing. Let's look at the past month and a half, if you will. What has been the hardest thing for you to deal with?
The hardest thing for me to deal with here this last month has just been going from the virus shutting everything down to us being called to action. We've had multiple police brutality situations, have had me protesting, wanting to get that message out, but I really realized that I need to be a part of a positive message. Make sure that doesn't get lost and all the chaos going on. For people to actually hear from a reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone else.
A reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone else, which leads us to more than a vote. It is a beautiful collective of black athletes and artists. You are a part of that. Talk to me about why that's important for you right now to be a part of that collective.
To me personally, it's important to be a part of that because I've someone used baseball in my craft as an excuse to not get more involved, but I can't only use baseball and excuse not to take care of it, not also to show people like at any moment in time in my life, we can make a difference.
So tell me in your words, what does activism look like for you?
My word is speaking up, breaking the ice. I think the first time you see it from us, so now we have white teammates, we have other people speaking up and realizing, this is how we go about doing this. And even right now, social media, athletes speaking up, entertainers speaking up, like they're trying to avoid what low.
You said something I thought was so key because covering sports for so long. I know that it's tough for black players specifically in Major League Baseball to talk about how they feel. Adam Jones did it in a very eloquent way early on, but there are very few that are vocal. You said you all were afraid. Why use that word? Why were you afraid?
Afraid because in 2019 it was 68 total. February 18 was 25 now, I'm 18. 40 roster. It's 2019. There aren't many of us. So we're out running in that sense. But I always say negative way comes our team to get to this point, we have to look a certain way. You got to be careful what you say. You can't fall professionals. You can't come off the way. Much like other black entertainers, much like themselves. Probably have to live my life every day, but to get to the highest level, you got to see baseball, like I said, it's time for us to try and keep it going and make it balance. Shows okay to do so, can't quiet it.
That is a button up, be quiet, be seen but not heard. That is an expression that a lot of black folks can relate to in whatever aspect of
What is this guy doing?
They just feel that. It is also a socialization that we have.
Actually, what is this guy?
And for so long, I felt it bubbling right underneath the surface, and so many of us who were in positions where we have I'm tired of pretending and looking the other way, and spending so much time making others comfortable while we work. Do you feel that this is the type of movement that is sustainable, or is it just for a time?
It takes everyone running on a conversation right now. There's little things possible to distract from big issue. We saw our draft day. We saw our crazy holding up the signs and like lives matter.
Yeah.
Be in that. But now we're having those conversations. I definitely think this is sustainable, and it's not always just going to be popular. This is something people want to get right because they know we care.
Jason, you said you think it's sustainable that what you're seeing, especially with your colleagues in baseball, that this can be something where you're feeling more comfortable, feeling more safe to share how you feel about social injustice and police brutality. What are you doing right now in this moment with your platform to help change how we look at voting and how to educate the culture and community about voting?
First one is joining up with athletes and entertainers to get that message out to our platform and access that group. And try to create awareness just to make it something not just about election. It's about people getting educated from just calm, figure out how to vote. Got people in different areas that cover different demographics and areas of people. Not just baseball players, not life baseball players. I feel like now, like I'm talking about, it's finally time to show people that you can use and make protection. You don't have to be afraid. And to me, that can help someone else. Growing up, you can see these guys that can video this is what they're saying. They're speaking up these things. It's okay to want to play baseball. It's not lame. It's not something I have to be as afraid of as I was before. So I feel like that's my role in this. I have a younger brother as well. He's 24. He also plays baseball. So I've got to lead by example. I can't just always come up with a good answer and sound good on TV. When I get asked a question on what do we need to do to make changes, I'm joining up here to make sure that I take action and get educated myself. One, so many people I feel like in Atlanta, they're on the move. We want to try to make a vote, try and cash it. You have to do it by name. You have to sign up for a TV ballot. Then you have to get another ballot in return, and they have to send it back to you. Well, for me personally, they didn't send that back until it was too late. Right? We didn't get it in the mail to the address that's in the address. My parents got that until it was too late. And then from other friends and families, just to do it right now, I just hear about them trying to get out. You know how it is for a black family in the city. So trying to take care of the family, trying to provide for them, trying to get out.
Oh, she's not. I don't know what expression that is.
I'm gonna address these issues right now. I need y'all to stay online, cash those votes, keep hanging in there. So to me, in Georgia, that's what that looks like.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because there have been all these images, specifically from Georgia, because that's such a battleground, where you see people, especially when it came to the primaries, doing whatever it takes.
What?
This is real life voter suppression.
Is that?
It's been happening for decades. It's not what you're saying. These examples of sending your ballot too late after the fact, or shutting down polls at 6 o'clock while people still are in line. That's a real life issue. There needs to be some type of change. And I think that what we're doing right now is fair. But the idea of voter suppression, do you think that is well known, especially with folks, within the generation, your generation?
I think it's known in our communities. Right? I don't think it's going on enough. I don't think there's been enough light on it. Bring it to light. Let people hear about it. Let people learn about what that looks like. And give more people to say, okay, look, this is going to happen. We have to expect this. We can no longer make excuses. Can't say that anymore.
Jason, everybody knows, or it feels as if everyone knows now. America's paying attention to us. We have their eyes. We have their ears. If you look toward the future, what are you most excited about in terms of seeing a change?
I'm excited about how fast the word is traveling. The word is being spread right now. The biggest athletes, the biggest icons, biggest entertainers are doing their part. But I'm also seeing people out there on the streets doing their part. When so many things got lost, could have very easily got in the commotion when it came to protests and saw rioting, saw looting. People still stood their ground.
I don't know, like that shoe got off.
Whoever wants that, can I have a mini?
Social media. I feel like this is a new way of getting things done the right way, just spreading the message.
You're right about that, and you're right. People are spreading the word unapologetically out here, doubling down. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Right.
Hey everybody, I am so excited to welcome a friend, a brother, family member, if you will, former colleague NBA, great sports analyst, philanthropist. He does it all. He's here to give us his time and his platform to talk to us. That is so important. And that is everybody. Welcome, Jalen Rose, to Meet the People. Talk to me about how important it is for the people who know you and love you and look up to you. Why is it so important that you use your platform to talk about voting?
Initially, we have to get past the stigma of the mental systemic racism that comes with the presidential race, governors, mayors, senators, judges. We've been conditioned to believe that our vote does not matter. So usually when we looked up at all of those races and people that were running, not only did they not look like us, we didn't believe they were there to represent our best interests. So therefore, as a collective, we didn't mobilize until Barack Obama, and we felt a sense of hope that finally our country is going to do something that we felt would never happen in our lifetime. And I remember being at the inauguration in 2008. I made sure I was there. And we voted in 2016. We didn't vote, Carrie. We didn't vote. And so many people try to make this political. This is not political. Me telling somebody to vote is like telling somebody to pay taxes. So that's one, getting over the stigma of nobody is going to represent our best interest. And then number two, the reality is that the person that gets the most votes doesn't necessarily win the presidency. That's uncomfortable right there, because that's actually what took place in 2016. The Electoral College chose the president. And if you put all of their pictures up, I'm pretty sure they look a lot more like each other than they look like you and I. How about that? And then the third thing, especially in urban environments, oh man, they create barriers for us, Carrie. It's like you got to jump over the fence, you got to run past the dog, you got to jump on the hood of the car. The lines is 5 hours long. You get up to the poll and they don't work. Elderly people working in the city, while they got the young people who understand technology working in the suburbs. Like, these are all systematic things that try to discourage us from voting. And then finally, we don't have a day off to vote. We need to work. So we don't get a day off. It's going to be a full day, and I got to work to pay my bills. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mail in vote. And you know what you want people to realize? That counts too. So your vote will be counted if you're able to mail it in. So those are a few things that I hope that we can do and mobilize. And shout to LeBron and his team. Shout to you and everybody involved. We will make a difference.
Well, let's talk about more than a vote. There is a Black collective of athletes, of artists coming together and saying voter suppression is a real deal, especially in the Black community. When you just talked about, I got to work, so I can't go vote. And then when we do get in the booth, just in case we don't have to work, do we know who we're voting for? Not only do we have to vote, we got to be educated. And it's not always even about the man who's in office or the woman who's in office for president. It's about your local elections. It's about the people who are your DAs, your state DAs, like the people who actually make change in your community, who will change police brutality, who will make sure that your community is taken care of, who will defund police and hope that they can help you in stopping police brutality. So talk to me about why you decided to be a part of More Than a Vote and what it actually means.
Well, it means a lot to be involved with such an impressive collective, as you mentioned. And I said this multiple times, and I know it can be uncomfortable when I say it, but a lot of times we have to get to the root of the issue before we find a solution. And the quote was, I wish America loved Black people as much as it loves Black culture. And this collective, by the way, represents in a lot of ways what's encouraging, but also sometimes disappointing about our role as Black people in America. Because we were brought here as labor and to entertain. And we use those vehicles to get paid and move to the suburbs and be the idols of white kids. And so now that we have this collective, I would say sports in
entertainment represent the most powerful group of black men in the United States. I'm talking about money, power, celebrity, the ability to mobilize, community involvement, their leadership, their intellect. And so to have all of us pull it in the same direction at the same time for anything that we're passionate about is going to be a difference maker, but it's definitely going to be a difference maker in the 2020 vote, because we're going to make sure we inform everybody that they can let their voice be heard, and failure is not an option.
Jalen, what does voter suppression look like to you?
A perfect example took place recently, Carrie, in Kentucky. It was 6 p.m. at night, and so many people were standing in line enthusiastic to vote. And you know what they did? Locked the doors. And you know what the people did? They continued to bang on the doors, continued to bang on the windows. They continued to let it be known they were not going to leave the premises until they got a chance to vote. And you know what ended up happening? They opened those doors and allowed those people to vote. So do not be discouraged. These barriers show you that it matters, and we're here to help you break through them. The same thing with our platforms and voices, Carrie, because you know what's going to happen. At some point, Breonna Taylor is not going to be trending anymore. People are not going to be protesting anymore. But it's still up to us to keep making sure that our voices get heard, and this is one way to do so.
Right, and that is a form of being activated, being an activist. It doesn't have to be protesting. It doesn't have to look like what you think traditionally activism looks like. It's voting. It's that simple.
We now have to understand, like, this is a critical mass moment for this movement to continue to hold up as much steam for as long as possible. And that's what this collection is going to hopefully allow for that situation to happen.
Jalen, in today's age of technology, it should be easier to vote.
No doubt. It's like we call these devices smartphones, but yet I can't vote from it. All of the things that we do in our lives are in our phones. All of these barriers are things that people will need to overcome in order to create a level of enthusiasm to vote. And again, this is not political. It's your right to do so. And there's so many times where you feel like somebody may have gotten done unjustly in your community. Pay attention to who the judges are, who's running for Senate, mayor, governor. Pay attention who's running for president. And let's make sure in 2020 we make a difference.
Why is more than a vote so important and invaluable in our community right now?
Well, because right now, I think we have an opportunity to let our voices be heard louder than ever. Anytime you see the mobilization of white kids holding Black Lives Matter signs, that means there's a breakthrough. Now, what happens with that breakthrough is the next step. You're going to look down in your email, Carrie. You're going to see all of these companies telling you how they're going to work on their diversity, how they're looking themselves in the mirror. They need to make change, just like in sports, right? Look on the field, on the court, all those black players. The further you get up, it's like altitude or a ladder. It gets thinner and thinner. And so a lot of people talk about the system being broken. I hate to remind people that it's not broken. It was built this way. And one of our ways to help change the system is to vote. So that's why more than a vote is so very important, so we can make sure everybody participates and gives themselves an opportunity to let their voice be heard.
I think it's interesting because you talked about black men being very powerful in the U.S. if they're athletes and entertainers, because for so long those have been the only avenues traditionally to create wealth. The NBA season comes back. What are your feelings on the season coming back? In the midst of everything that is happening?
I think you'll see players challenging the establishment more. You're going to see them saying, okay, if you have all of these marketing and promotional deals, how many of them are with minorities? How many people are you employing, NBA? What about certain teams? Who do you have as a minority owner Or what about the candidates that you have for positions of power? NBA players have proven as blacks that they are now movers and shakers in the game. They're now the dog, not the tail. So if they decide not to play, some of the biggest social changes and conversations have taken place in sports that weren't during the game. Colin Kaepernick was before the game. The Ali Summit was a press conference. So they could mobilize if they chose to. But when and if you do play, challenge the league. Black Lives Matter on the jerseys. Continue to make sure that every time people are watching the game, they're also seeing the movement happen.
Jalen, I appreciate you because you are always entertaining and informative at once. I really, truly am looking forward to the NBA season. Thank you for working with More Than a Vote because your voice, your platform, all of it is needed, my friend. Be safe, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I love and appreciate you. One call away always.
Thank you. Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Every conversation that we had today, I hope was helpful for you. I am so grateful to everyone who came on with me to talk about what's going on in our culture and how we need to change. Huge shout out to Jalen Rose, Bun B, Jason Hayward, Yvonne Orji, and Russ. Their words were inspiring, but also important and invaluable. I hope your phone is full with all the information that we've been able to place in front of you. Again, you need to check out these resources because they are so important because we want you to vote. That is your voice. It is important. We, the people, want you to vote. So go to morethanavote.org, fairfight.com, and whenweallvote.org. Again, thank you so much for joining us and paying attention because this message, again, is invaluable. I'm Carrie Champion for We the People.
That was it. So I think it was just like saying like we need to make a change and like Black Lives Matter and yeah, like be kind to people and we need to change this and we need to stop this and everything. So everybody be kind to everybody and enjoy.